Evidence. Tonight, see what truly exists inside the world of the paranormal. Inside. Join the discussion and review some of the best paranormal evidence captures from a wide variety of experienced and up-and-coming investigators. See and hear what they capture, where they captured it, and how they captured it. Right now on Entity Voices Paranormal Evidence.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Entity Voices Paranormal Evidence. I'm Chris.
I'm Audra.
I'm Tony.
I am Lourdes.
And I am Ron. And wow, we could not have toned that down more if we were sleeping. We're back.
We're back.
Minus one.
But not
Minus one.
Minus one, and that is the part that we will all be a little bit sad about.
I know. Is Cherie working or?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That woman works hard. She works hard.
The whole work thing sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm starting to get more Rathman minded with Mondays, boy. Yeah.
Yeah, the way my Monday went today too, I was pretty Rathman minded by the end of the day too.
Can't stand them. Don't want to talk about them. We can talk about it Tuesday, but not before.
Those are agreeable rules.
Yeah.
I like that rule. Can't talk about until Tuesday.
Correct.
Yeah.
Everybody have a good week?
Last week.
Yeah. We didn't do anything really.
No, my son was here. We kind of just
Chilled.
a little bit. We worked on some stuff for a project we're working on with Senor Rathman, which was fun, and we got to see some of his progress. And you guys will see soon enough when said project is done. But the guy's talent goes beyond ITC and nice haircuts by a long shot.
The video you sent or videos you sent today, I already threw it into the outline. It looks a lot better than just the voice. So that part will come out really nice.
Yeah, I mean, that's a skill though too. I mean, your ability to edit and produce stuff is really noteworthy. It's really good.
Thank you. Well, I'm glad you like it. I just my only complaints were there's a couple of sections, and I think we talked about it today about possible fixes, but those I think are necessary because going through it, there were a couple times I myself was like, oh. So.
Yeah, that's all. We'll iron out the kinks.
Right.
We'll iron out the kinks. And how about Christoph and Alice in Wonderland?
Well,
we didn't do shit. We did a day date.
yeah. I'm like, excuse me.
Well, besides the day
Yeah,
date,
right.
we didn't do anything paranormal.
Yeah, nothing paranormal. No.
No, we went to our favorite restaurant in Concord that we really want to investigate, but it's such a busy happening restaurant because it's so popular. We can't.
We're trying though. They're closed on Monday.
They're only
Tuesday?
closed on Monday, Tuesdays, but we don't talk about the one day.
Sorry, that's right.
No, and that whole work kind of kills the investigation time. But
Yeah, nothing ends. We're getting ready.
I mean, what time do they close? I mean, it's also up to you. But if they close at, I don't know, if they close at 2 a.m, I don't know if you want to go investigate. Yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah.
You gotta get an off night. That's all. Get an off night.
Yeah. Ron, you got an exciting announcement, don't you?
Oh, the release of the book.
Yeah.
What?
It's green, so it's got green in it. So it's hard to see. The digital.
You can see it.
Now you can see it. Digital Seance Initiative, forward by the very talented. If you haven't read books by Rich Michella of NJPP, you should. He's a really good writer. He wrote the forward for this. So yeah, I'm grateful. I've been blessed. This is the third book to have contributions from people like Tony, Richard, bunch of the people in ITC from the first book. Steve Holte did the forward for the second book. Dr. Annabelle Cardoso, who's ITC royalty, did the about the author for the first one. Joshua Sean contributed the about the author thing for this one. Yeah, I'm grateful the support that everybody shows, and I'm happy to share, stuff that I've learned and stuff that I'm trying to learn, and stories and experiences, and together with the group of people you see me around right here, we're trying to move the ball a little bit. We're trying to shift the paradigm a little bit. And I know as far as on the ITC and direct radio voice front, Lourdes and I have talked about this. However confident we were that we could change the game with where we think ITC can go, that's doubled since Tony and Cherie got on board. So we're hyped.
Thank you. That's kind of you. Appreciate that.
It's not so kind. You guys bust your asses, man.
You work hard for that.
You guys earn it.
We all work hard.
Everybody does. We benefit from that that hardworking ability when it comes to this from everybody, and that's a real asset to be part of that.
Absolutely.
Well, maybe we should talk about our guests a little bit.
Yeah.
All right, guys. So we've had this group on before, but we've got a new member of the group coming on tonight. So we've got Piedmont Paranormal Investigations in the house from up in Winston-Salem area. And everybody, I'll bring in Scott. Everybody remember Scott?
Hey, everybody.
And I want to introduce Scott's team member, Becca.
Becca.
Say hello.
How you doing?
Hello.
Welcome.
All right. Welcome. Well, Scott, everybody's talked to you before. Becca, nobody's seen your face before on TV. So one of the first questions I ask new guests is, what got you involved in the paranormal?
Well, I've always been sensitive to energy. I remember as a kid praying I wouldn't hear or see anything spirit-wise because it would freak me out and freak family out. Of course, I watched Taps back in the day and all kinds of paranormal shows because I was just really interested. And then eventually that led me to PPIT.
That's awesome.
Awesome. All right, Scott. What's been going on in the PPIT world?
A lot going on, man. Of course, we just wrapped up the residential investigation that you came down and helped us with. Not this past weekend, but the weekend before. Got a lot coming up. We're so I guess we could some of it I need to save for the end for the shameless plugs, but no,
Got this down.
The team is growing though. We have taken on 2 new members to the team recently, and we're excited about getting started with them. So it's it's the team's just growing in leaps and bounds right now, both in experience and with members, and we're excited to get the 2023 investigation season off and running.
Cool.
So for everybody watching, we met Scott. And was Heather with you the first time we met?
First time you and I ever met in person was at a private residential investigation that you helped us out with. Basically the same house.
That's right. Yeah.
Up. But
we met Zach and Mike first.
You met Zach and Mike first at Tala.
That's right, at Tala.
Tala in 2021. Yeah. And it's grown from there. It's So
when we first met we met a couple of members of Scott's team the first investigation that we did at Trans Allegheny, and then they introduced us to Scott, and Scott reached out to me to discuss a private that he was working on. But the point I'm trying to make is from the time that we've met Scott and the PPIT team, they have grown exponentially here in North Carolina. And in the Winston-Salem area alone, this team is just phenomenal in not just doing investigations and the equipment that Scott has. Good Lord, he had to buy an RV to haul all of his equipment. But
We're currently sitting doing the show from.
Oh, cool.
It will double kind of as our mobile command center, but we have lovingly called it the Wandering Spirit. So
Nice.
nice.
Awesome.
That is
But in the couple of years that we've had Scott and the team, they have just the way they handle private investigations, especially in their area of, and this area for some reason just seems to be whacked out with spiritual energy.
Yeah.
But the way Scott's team handles private investigations is just phenomenal. The way they treat the homeowners and do everything they can to help. And for everybody watching, none of us charges for privates. So Scott has gone it. Charge for some privates, but not private investigations.
Yeah. Good to clarify that.
That's right.
Hey, I was in the Navy. What can I say?
Well, you do have the RV, so you got your secret little space.
I want to say, because we haven't had the opportunity to work with you guys yet, but what we have had the opportunity to do, and we're grateful for, and I think I speak on behalf of the whole EVPI team here, EVPE team, is you guys, Everett, and people from your team show up to this show not only in support of us, but you contribute really, really insightful questions and commentary in the chat. People know you from being here. We see it all the time, and so we try to walk the path of gratitude, and we try to understand that nobody owes you anything. So when people are as supportive and kind as you guys have been to us, I thought this was a good opportunity in front of everybody to give you a big thank you, because it means a lot to us that you do that. You guys have been great.
Yeah. I think I've only been in the chat watching the show drunk once so far. So,
So far, I
As
like
long
how
as
you
you're in there watching, we don't care.
That's right. But for everybody watching, when Scott was in the chat drunk, it
That
was
was funny.
obvious. It was obvious.
It was.
So I'd like to chat more, but Scott sent me about 85 pieces of evidence to go through.
No surprise. No surprise.
So Chris went through and picked as many of the best ones as I possibly could, which was hard because Scott gets some good evidence. If anybody that remembers the last time that Scott was on, we caught that picture you guys caught that picture at the private investigation of the lightning bolt of the elemental in the closet. That was fantastic.
Yeah,
which is now their PPIT logo, by the way.
Oh, really?
So,
yes.
Nice.
Yeah, when we formed the LLC, the logo we were using at the time we couldn't copyright because I used some artwork I found on the internet to do that with. So we had to rebrand the logo, and I was thinking, what can we do? So I started playing around with that photo, and we've now got that integrated into our new logo.
It's fantastic.
That's cool.
Nice.
All right, so let's get to some evidence. So we're going to start with, we've got 4 photos, and 2 of them go together and the other 2 go together. During the photos, you guys can talk. During the videos, you cannot. So why don't you explain this one to us?
Okay, so we were contacted by a young lady about some activity on her property. And most of the activity was occurring outdoors. So I went over to do, this is from the initial baseline investigation. The whole purpose was to go over, take some photos of the property, get the layout, do some initial EMF and EVP readings and whatnot. And I caught this photo. I believe this is the original photo.
Mm-hmm.
But if you look on the corner of the trailer there to the right, you can see something standing there. And then about 10 feet to the right of it, there's something else. So
Over in the dark, yeah.
Yeah. I believe I also have the enhanced version of this photo sent to you and some zoom ins as well. There we go. There's one right there. So I sent the information and everything to Becca initially because she is our metaphysical lead on the team, and to do a reading, I'll let her get into some details about that.
Mm-hmm.
But this property has a dark history. It has remained in the same family since the Revolutionary War, and there were slaves on the property at one point. So and so I'll let Becca go into detail as to what she got, but if you want to go through and show the zooms real quick.
Let me see if I can find them.
How many were there?
Well, I zoomed in on the corner of the trailer, and of course you can see in the enhanced version you can see the other entity, standing there as well.
Okay, so I'm going to pull this out.
Yeah.
And go ahead and talk, Becca. I'll go ahead and bring this up.
Okay.
Becca, go ahead.
So, when I tapped in, I was fairly new to testing how far my abilities could go, because I had suppressed myself for a long time out of fear of working in mental health and how people would take it. So this right here is the male. There was a male and female on the property, and the male was very aggressive. He wouldn't let the female out of his sight. So there's another photo Scott had taken where he's actually right beside of her in the photo.
Oh, wow.
And so with this, I went into it unprotected. I didn't ground myself. I didn't protect myself. I wanted to see how far my abilities could go. And so, yeah, we've got the female over at the side. And with that, I ended up experiencing the events that happened between the male and female at her time of death as if it were happening to me. So I could feel every hit, every time he would act aggressively or violently towards her, to the point where I felt myself falling back, and I could see a hand and arm with a bracelet that wasn't mine, but it was as if it was mine, and felt my body go cold as she, of course, passed away. And it shook me for a while. I usually ground and protect with everything I do. I do Reiki. I do mediumship, all kinds of things. And I did not this time. So it shook me for a few days because it was a very violent and traumatic passing. And as I said, I experienced it as if it was me. I still do sometimes, and that may be why I'm talking kind of funny, flash back to those images when I think about it. So this is a cautionary tale to anyone who can energetically enter into a situation. I had spoken to Chris afterwards, and he reminded me what I tell most empaths: to observe and not absorb, and get yourself into the situation. To always make sure you're the observer instead of an active participant.
Rebecca, as somebody with that kind of ability, I think this is for people who are newer and still learning. This might be something they would wonder. How much would you say is a fair percentage of that ability to not absorb and observe? Do you think an individual who has the ability can control?
Well, I'm also a behavioral health therapist, and I've worked in the mental health field for over 20 years. I've been licensed last 7. And so I learned back in 2012, I worked in inpatient mental health. And that's when I started really having to come to terms with the fact that I was an empath, because I was having so many emotions and things that weren't mine and drained so much at the end of the day. That's when I found Reiki and learned how to control some of it. So I feel like that it's kind of a balancing act. You can, for the most part, learn ways to ground yourself, protect yourself, recognize what's your energy versus somebody else's, your emotions versus somebody else's. But at the same time, kind of like when Chris was on the investigation with us at the private residence recently, I was so grounded and protected that I couldn't see some things as well as I possibly could have. So it's a balancing act, and it's really hard to decide what's going to be the best fit for you as far as tapping in versus protecting.
Fair enough.
Made sense.
Yeah, no, it's good. If when at the end of the show, when we do shameless plugs and stuff, if there's anywhere people can find you and they want to follow up on that, that's probably something a lot of viewers would want, to dive into a little bit more.
Yeah, definitely.
No further questions. You may step down.
Remember, you're still under oath.
I think the first step to that, though, is just recognizing that you're picking up. A lot of people don't recognize that the feelings that they're having are not their own. That's
Yeah.
part of
Right.
it.
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Definitely. Like the first investigation I did with the team was at the same residence that we were at the last time with Chris. And that was actually when I first met you and Audra.
Right.
And I was just tagging along. My husband was part of the team. And I was standing in front of a door and I was like, I don't know what's behind here, but my chest is starting to hurt. I was getting breathless. My heart was racing. And I said, there's something about this door, and the EMF reader was going off. And Scott said, well, that's interesting because that's the bathroom where the homeowner's ex-wife had a seizure, a heart attack, and later died. So I was picking up that residual energy. But because I had learned so much about it, I knew it wasn't me, that it was something else that was creating that feeling within me.
Yeah.
Spot on.
Makes a lot of sense.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's go to the next one. This is called The Bearded Man,
Bearded Man.
and it's
Tala.
not Scott.
I'm like, wait, Scott, you can't take
Yes.
pictures. No.
Yes. This is one of my most recent, just most favorite pieces that we called it Tala.
Okay.
As you know, anybody who knows me knows I'm a big fan of UV blacklight high definition photography. If you look in the mirror, not in the mirror, the window to the left, you will see what appears to be a bearded man in the window, and it looks like he's holding a wine bottle. So this was taken in what, if anybody's been to Tala, recognizes or knows as Dean's room or the bedpost murder room. So we were. This was during an EVP session, EVP session,
Was this the Estes one?
No, this
No?
was the EVP, not the Estes. Yeah, you're correct. This room is on the third floor. So
Yeah.
Yes.
Third floor, Violent Men's Ward.
yeah, and you see what appears to be a bearded man, and if you look close, it looks like he's holding a bottle of wine or something, and just outside the window. I mean, that was just amazing. When I found that, I was just completely blown away.
Scott, what time of year was it when that photo was taken?
That was taken. We were in August of last year. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
I was thinking maybe December because he kind of
He
looks
looks
like
like Santa Claus. Exactly. That's what I asked.
I've thought about that as well. I'm like, if it had been in December, I would have been like, he's real.
Yeah.
And it explains why I never got that freaking bike.
I know.
Yeah.
I need to
Well,
talk to you
if
real
you-
quick.
If he has a wine bottle, he's on vacation. That's
Oh,
sad
yeah,
on
yeah.
vacation.
That explains everything.
But I'm telling you, if he's got wine, I want to invite him in and say, hey, let's pour a glass, So, but
Let's talk about that bike I never got.
Yeah, this is the first and only podcast to prove the existence of Santa Claus.
yeah. But the thing is the only two people in that room at the time were me and Everett, and we were the only ones with facial hair in that room.
Yeah.
And we're standing. You can see where I took the photo from. Everett is actually about 4 feet to my left. So this is not a reflection of me or Everett in that window.
And I was there that night. Nobody else had a beard.
Yeah.
You pull Roger's comment up again? That's awesome. That's just awesome.
Yeah, but that was that was an amazing photo, and it's not the only photo of a buried person we got in that room.
Wow.
But yeah, so yes, Anthony, that is correct. That is the one I showed you when you were there with us.
How you
So I
doing?
want to point something out to everybody watching. This can't be a reflection, because if you look at the depth of the picture of the man outside the window,
Mm-hmm.
he is back behind the grids in the window, and it looks
Right.
like he's quite a distance behind it.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And there's nothing outside that window. It's a straight drop to the ground.
And there's detail there
Wow.
too. It
Yeah.
almost looks like he's wearing glasses as well.
Yeah.
It
Looks
does.
like one of those old Christmas cards.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, it's Santa Claus.
Yeah.
We caught him.
Oh yeah.
You know where
very
he went
cool.
with those hops. I don't know. Santa goes from roof to roof, Micah.
And
That's my
we're building a
brother, by the
case
way.
for Santa Claus.
Mike is
Ghosts,
my brother. So
ghosts and aliens and Bigfoots, that stuff's all fake. Santa Claus.
Santa Claus.
There it
yeah,
is.
there you go.
He's real, and he hangs out in Tala in the off season.
I have photographic evidence.
That's awesome. That's great. Because Chris is right. There is depth to it. A reflection would have been on the glass or in front of it, but
Right.
you could see, even if it's not a lot of distance, there's some distance between the bars or the grid for
Right.
sure.
And it's the third floor.
Yeah, if that's the third floor,
There's no way.
it's really hard to host that.
And I want to point out something super obvious. See the black light?
Yeah.
So if this was a reflection of somebody in the room, they would have appeared blue.
Mm.
Yeah.
That's another good point. Yep.
Yep.
Yeah.
Smurf claws.
Yeah.
Smurf claws. Papa Smurf ate the donut.
Smurf has a beard and he's blue, but that's not who it is.
Right. So that's
Chris,
another point.
that's a brilliant observation,
Yeah.
because when you look at something like this, seriously, this is very compelling, all jokes aside, and to try to nitpick it down to prove it, not debunk it, every little detail that you can observe, it matters. And so you just nailed something on top of what was already beyond compelling, that you added the part of what the light would have factored in if it was reflective. It's not refractive, reflective. It's
Right.
That's odd.
Well, it's got the
And-
opposite lighting effect as well. It's not blue, meaning it's not inside. It's got
Right.
the lighting effect of the outdoor
Yes.
colors.
Yeah,
And
correct.
if you go back to the zoomed in shot, the lighting matches the surroundings it's in.
Right.
So it's
The
not
exterior,
in
yeah.
the room.
Well,
Wow.
then you go back to this picture and you look at the people sitting there, and they look like a Smurf.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I believe that person sitting there was, I want to say that was
Zach or Mike.
Zach or Mike
Yeah.
from our team sitting there. I'm not 100% sure of that. No, because they don't wear shorts. That may have been my wife, Heather.
You just called Heather a man.
You did. You just called her a man.
Well, I know she would. Well, no, because she had a cast on her leg.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, she had an air cast on.
I can't. I don't know. There
That's
were several
somebody.
people in there.
Somebody sitting there.
All right. All right, we got a lot to go through, guys. So I'm gonna roll through this. Okay, this next one is He Is Watching, and this is Old Hollow Road.
Oh yeah, this was from. This is from the investigation we just wrapped up. We'd set up, as Chris said, I've invested in some equipment. One of those is a laser grid system. We have a camera that I can fine tune to pick it up. Oh, okay. Zach says yes. Mike was wearing shorts. Okay. We picked up something on the audio on there, and Chris, I'll let you go into the background as why it says what it says, but I don't
The
know if you wanna
importance
put
behind it.
The relevance.
Yeah.
So what's interesting about this is before this was caught, we went back into the room, and this is the room we rediscovered. And I don't want to divulge too much because it was a private, but we had discovered that somebody in the house had been doing rituals for dummies. And unfortunately, one of the family pets had been used in that ritual. And when Scott went through this black light, we actually found some symbols that had been put on the wall with writing in the blood from whatever they sacrificed. I think it was one of the family pets because 2 of them died in the house. But
Wow.
And the best part is he used dollar store scented candles to do his ritual.
Yeah, they were different colors.
Yeah.
But they were Dollar Tree scented candles.
So this investigation stemmed from somebody not knowing what they were doing and trying to do something really bad to the homeowner that he did not like. Mm-hmm. And when we were back in this room, I was sensing the entity, and we brought the group in, and I was actually explaining to him what I was seeing. And that's when you had to pull Jennifer out of the house.
Right.
And I actually mentioned to the group that it doesn't like the fact that I can see it. It's almost like it's not supposed to be seen. It's supposed to remain hidden. That's how it causes its turmoil. And it didn't like the fact that he didn't like me, and it didn't like the fact that I could see it. And they caught this after that discussion, probably an hour or two after.
Yeah.
Yeah. So here we go.
We have access to the harbor. Probably not limited.
Heard that.
Oh,
Heard that.
Very clear. Very clear.
Yep. Heard that.
Because Chris was staring pretty hard at him in the room and trying to help me see him, because I could only see it as I'm still working on being able to see with my eyes open, and I just see dark shadows where things are right now.
It was a pretty intense, but not so intense what it could have been investigation.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. What was that, Chris? Do I want you to play it again? Absolutely.
Yeah. All right, here we go.
We have access to the harbor. Probably not limited.
That's good.
That's amazing to me because
That's good.
because there's so many people who have gifts, genuinely have gifts like yourselves, who say they can see spirit. Rich Michelle does it. Anthony Simonelli, Chris, of course, Rebecca. And when you get, that's the first time I've ever heard that specifically on a recording in over a decade. How's he watching? That's fantastic to me. Just contextually, that's gold.
Yeah. And there was nobody back in that part of the house at the moment either. We were all up in the living room at that time. This was the very back bedroom of the house. So it was just cool. When I came across it, I'm like, oh, I got to send this to Chris immediately. So,
hey, John. Yeah, that's really good.
Yeah. It was.
All right, Scott, let's go to the next one. This one is called Grave, the Shed SD session disembodied.
Okay. This is current active residential investigation we have in Lexington, North Carolina. Poltergeist activity, seeing shadows, all kinds of different stuff. Again, a lot of it centering outside of the residence. I think we got more evidence from this investigation as well that's going to show some stuff going on there. Some of it was centered around a utility shed on the backside of the property. So we decided to do an Estes session back there. My wife, Heather, was sitting there doing it. And through the investigation, the home, the client has said that he has reason to believe there's a grave on the property because just sometimes when the grass grows in a certain area, it just kind of takes that shape when the grass gets a little too high. And so we're investigating, and we get a very interesting EVP on the DVR camera we had set up in the shed, which we used to record the SD session as well. So I'll let you go ahead and play that.
Go ahead and answer that question, Scott.
Yes. Just Carol, just trial and error. I got some really good photographs when this was still a hobby of mine in Waverly Hills, and I had read some articles before we went. It's like I said, back at that time we were still kind of new to it and everything. So I was trying to pick up some investigation techniques. So we went through Waverly Hills, and on the third floor where you have the is famous for having the shadow man there. So my wife and I are taking pictures. I just pull out the black light, start taking pictures as well, and we pick up the shadow man in there. And that at that point, I was like, I'm sold on this method. So I've developed it quite a bit. Very high definition cameras with very true actual black lights. Very powerful one, I might add. I decided to put some money into it, and I've got a pretty powerful black light now. I actually got several of them now. So one that has more kind of a narrow beam, and one that has a very wide beam. So it's just a tried and true method that I've come up with, and getting some fantastic results with it.
And I can tell you, we preach situational awareness on this show about knowing your surroundings and knowing what's going on. That also helped us at that investigation, because if Scott wouldn't have had that black light, we wouldn't have seen the ritual markings that the gentleman had left on the walls.
Yeah,
because you couldn't see it with your naked eye, but once he hit it with the black light, those blood imprints that had been wiped away or whatever, you could still see it. It was pretty evident. There was quite a few of them.
That's crazy.
Wow. That's even a level deeper of situational awareness, because you could be completely attuned to your environment and lock down and button up everything and still not see that if you're not equipped to see that. So that's a lesson in preparedness too, because that's really that's a really elusive detail if you're not ready to find it.
Yeah. Luckily, Chris and I both had picked up before we went to the site that the family member had been doing some rituals and things. I had been to the site before the family member had left the home, and that's when I had seen the candles, and everybody kept saying, well, it's probably because it was trying to cover up the smell of the drugs, and something just kept telling me, no, he was doing more with this.
Well, that last comment Ash read, Ash was a former law enforcement partner. We worked together when I was a cop, and we used to do some investigation on at work a little bit. I'm sorry, Ash. I believe the statute of limitations has run out on that, but he's right. I know he's saying it jokingly, but some of those skills carry over into this. The investigation skills, the trying to forensically try to find what the evidence you need to complete these investigations. So he's exactly right.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's fantastic. So let's go back. Here we go with the grave one.
Oregon.
Wow.
That was scary.
I know. Play that again. That was awesome. Play that one more time.
All right, here we go.
Oregon.
That's horrible.
That's horrible.
Well, it sounds like it's really far away too. It's not
like he's yelling from the woods or something. Yeah.
Right.
Well, the wood line, I think we're going to the same place.
Yeah,
was very active.
About that was during that SD session. Becca was the one asking questions. My wife Heather was in the hot seat, and I was standing back behind her, because what we had experienced in the past at this place is that the entity does not like women. Actually would tend to get a little aggressive towards them. So we were hoping like a male presence would have staved that off. I kept hearing stuff rustling in the woods to the left and the right of, behind me. And, I was trying to, narrow down where it was coming from. And then we get this, this recording. It very well could have come from that wood line, which is probably about 15 feet away from that door. So,
So Scott,
I
does
thought-
Go ahead,
I'm sorry. I thought that I heard another whisper before the grave. I don't know if it's someone, one
I
of the
think that
investigators.
that may have been us in the background trying to determine where the noises in the woods were coming from.
Because it was Heather in the hot seat, and then Jennifer and I were standing behind her asking questions, and then Scott was behind us.
That's right. Jennifer was there. That's right.
3 of us. And as Jennifer said, it had choice words for you, Scott.
Yes, it did. It did not like me. It did not like Everett. It didn't like Eric either, if I recall right. So
well, and the one time we went, it called out through my SD session almost every single member, especially the males.
Called Everett an asshole. So
Yeah.
which I mean, it's true. And he'll admit it.
So Scott, does this correlate with the one that you sent me with the lights in the woods?
Yes. Same location.
Well, let's play those next then.
Yes.
Move those up. Where'd it go? The fudge.
Well, I'm trying to get all the evidence Scott sent, and this is only like a third of it.
Well, while you're pulling it up, I'll let everybody know you got to look. It's at the very beginning of the video. So
there's 2 videos that correlate with this. 2 of them are from different angles. So we'll start with the first one.
Yeah. Scott said he just saw something go across the front yard here.
yeah, so you saw the light anomaly there to the right of the screen. I saw it. Everett goes out and starts to try and capture something on video.
Yeah.
I think Mike and Zach immediately start trying to set up the laser grid in that section, which I think is shown on the next one. But we were seeing stuff like that all night long.
Yeah, Heather and I saw some when we were back at the shed, and we just kept getting bright lights like flashing right beside of us, and there was no light source.
Yeah,
and the dog reacted. Scott, what was the camera used for that? And was the camera the same one that captured the audio we heard?
Yes, that's our DVR system. We have a wireless 4-camera DVR system that we set up, and it's motion activated. So what it does, it picks up motion and then plays, backs up to the, I think 15 seconds prior to it. Sometimes it works like that, sometimes it doesn't. But it's actually a pretty good system we have. Is
there a lot of footage of that you still have to review? And I'm asking because the audio sounded like it had somewhat of a noise floor to it. And I'm really curious to whether or not that may have given you a leg up with EVP capture from the audio support that little white noise bed the video seemed to have.
It's possible that white noise is not normally in our camera feeds. So I'm not sure where that white noise was coming from, other than the standard noises of the night in middle of North Carolina, where you have the crickets and the everything else going on, which I don't know could have provided some of that. But no, normally that camera records sound fairly clean.
It was a
and
synthesized
It was,
set, right?
yeah,
Tony,
like
Tony,
electronic.
yeah, it had an electronic synthesized like noise bed to it. Tony,
I
heard
I
that?
noticed that too, and I'm not sure where that came from. I'm still trying to figure out where that came from as well. So
That's where it came
I know
from.
what you're talking about
Sounds
now.
like
Yeah,
direct
Almost-
radio voice. When we get the synthesized voices, it almost sounds like that.
Yeah, we've gotten that. And it was
Yeah.
interesting because with the experimentation between Tony Shree and us with using just pure white noise, that was the first thing. And we're watching it. I'm thinking, I wonder if Tony's ears are doing what mine are doing now, because that did have a reminiscent sound to that. And so that made me wonder, if you review this, how much footage do you have? You could have voices that are emboldened from that.
We got lots of footage from that location. That now makes me want to pull the audio from that and send it through our software. And I know that y'all do a lot of, slowing it down to try to see what's being said. That makes me want to pull the audio track from that and wash it through and then slow it down now.
Well,
I'd be curious.
Yeah, to add some credence to that too, anybody that hasn't been to North Carolina, unless you're in the heart of the city, you're out in the middle of the sticks.
Yes.
Okay. And if I remember right, Scott, I think you told me this one is way out in the middle of nowhere, and they got tons of acreage, right?
Yeah. Well, no, this one is not. That would have been the Friendship Church Road.
Okay, that's the other one.
This one's on in Lexington. But the thing about this location is it's right by High Rock Lake, which is a very
where we're going camping.
Large energy source. So
where we're going camping.
You're going camping there?
Yes. Fantastic.
Yes. You may pick up some energy. I know even one of my mom's best friends was found there not alive. Lots of bodies have been taken there.
Great campsite you picked there, Scott.
I think the campsite I think the campsite we're going to, Chris, is going to be on the opposite side of where this was at. But
okay, let me help you out with this, Scott. Okay, Ron, Lourdes, Tony, what does water do?
Enhances paranormal activity. But I have a question for Scott. Scott, you said that the camera you were using would track motion detection. Does it also outline the motion that's occurring?
No, unfortunately, no. I didn't have the money for that kind of camera.
No, I'm just curious because there's, maybe you can play it one more time, Chris, but there's outline boxes that I can actually get to highlight, even played through StreamYard. If you run your mouse over the screen, it pulls up these boxes, and I was trying to determine if that's where the movement was. Can you play it one more time?
Yeah, here we go.
Yeah. Scott said he just saw something go across the front yard here.
Wow. So yeah, that's what I thought. I thought maybe it was tracking movement. I'm not sure what it is, but
No.
And Chris, just to point out two things, because two of the comments in the chat were both really, really insightful. One, I forget the gentleman's name. He's mentioned that the cables, could they possibly have caused a white noise bed? And then Anthony Simonelli said that the lights sometimes can possibly cause a white noise. The only hesitation I would have in investing in either of those concepts is the fact that Scott said that this system does not normally do that.
Let me add credence to this. This was your wireless system, right, Scott?
Yeah, it is.
Oh, there you go. That's even more so, because
there are
that's
no cables to it.
Right.
That was
I mean,
engendered in the moment.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so
yes,
it has its own. It does have an onboard, infrared, emitter on it, but
we have the best audience, which you guys are usually part of. But I mean, that Brad Cooney's spot on with that. Sounds like sideband. For people who don't know, any RF signal has the carrier wave that it rides on, and the data that's encoded in the upper and lower sideband is equivalent.
Yes.
So if you do sideband, it's like putting your thumb over a garden hose and intensifying the stream for longer propagation and stronger signal strength. And it has that kind of a sound. That Brad nailed it. That's exactly what it sounds like.
Yeah.
So real quick, guys, in about 5 minutes, UNX is going to go over to their next audio program, but we're going to continue live on Facebook and YouTube and finish out the rest of Scott's evidence and get him his shameless plugs and Becca's shameless plugs. But I want to add credence to that. The next video is taken with the same type of camera from a different angle, correct?
Yes.
Let's listen to this one because the frequency is not in this video. All right, here we go.
I hear it there too. I hear it
We
there.
hear it.
Yeah, it's not as strong, but yeah.
It's not as strong.
This was the video. This was after we'd already seen the first light anomaly, and then if you notice at the very beginning of this video, you see the light anomaly again off the corner of the house, in the woods, and then of course Everett's still out there trying to investigate, trying to track this down, and they're setting up the laser grid. We were trying to get the laser grid moved to that location to try and figure out what was going on. So.
And you said that was Lexington?
That's in Lexington, yes.
There ain't shit in Lexington, y'all.
No.
Chris, why do I feel you're not going to get a phone call from Travel and Tourism for Lexington?
No.
We'd like you to be our spokesperson.
Well, I was a paramedic there, and there's plenty of like meth labs and heroin users, but other than that, Chris is right.
But they put off a different kind of light in the woods, though.
Yes.
All right, so the next one, you got some clips from the USS North Carolina, which we were on there with you.
Yes.
This is Something Just Said Hi.
Yep. I had just completed getting the DVR system set up. Fortunately, big metal ship, Wi-Fi doesn't go through very well, but the USS North Carolina has had the foresight to set up a Wi-Fi system inside the ship, so teams like us can tap into and run our equipment. So I was like, well, yes, I'm taking advantage of this. We're setting up the DVR system. So the mess decks on that ship are
She took advantage of it too.
Hotbed of activity. I think of the 4 cameras we had 3 of them in the mess decks. So, this was, I believe, camera 1, which I had focused directly on the kitchen. I just completed everything, and my brother, who's been commenting some, had called me on the phone. He's like, because he and I were both in the Navy, and he's like, dude, give me some good pictures of the ship. And so I'm in the next space over from that camera, talking to him on the phone, and then the camera picks this up. So yeah, go ahead and play it there, Chris.
And y'all, Scott talked about those Wi-Fi routers in the boat. Y'all remember the story I was telling you about Audra talking to the Wi-Fi router?
She took advantage of it too. Yeah.
Yes. This was the investigation right here. All right, here we go.
Not me talking to you.
Yeah, this isn't the Audra clip now. All right, here we go.
No, you even get close to Zach, it doesn't even
register. Do you hear that?
Something just said hi.
That's what I heard.
You heard that?
Yep. Hello.
Hello.
Yeah. You can hear
Yeah, I heard it.
It's pretty faint.
But
I didn't know I was in
there.
that clip, Scott.
Yeah.
Yeah. Were you?
Did you? Yeah, that's me going. Something just said hi. Zach and I were right there talking. Yeah.
Okay.
Did everybody hear that?
Play it again, Chris.
This isn't the clip I was thinking of then.
That might be that might be the next one. Let's play it again. Listen, it's really faint. It's right before Zach says I heard something.
It's breathy.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
All right. Here we go.
No, you even get close to Zach, it doesn't even
Register. Did you hear that?
Something just said hi.
That's what I heard.
You heard that?
Yep. Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, it's breathy. Breathy's right. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. There was another piece of evidence where we got a high on it. I think
we got high on it.
Yeah. Well.
You see how easy it is for us to go off the maturity wheels.
Yeah, no wonder she was talking to the router.
Because I'm looking at the files now. It's the one that I was talking about where I was talking to my brother. It said yes. The high was.
That's
yes.
the next one.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, let's play that. This is on the mess deck. Was this the officer's mess deck or the enlisted?
This would have been the one right. This is the camera right there at the kitchen.
Okay. So this is actually the area too where Audra and I smelt the food, and the damn thing hasn't been cooked on since 1957. So.
Oh yeah, you told us that.
Yeah, this is the exact same area right here.
Crazy.
All right, here we go. Oh, and then you hear something moving in there.
Yeah.
And I can tell you guys, from us being on that ship, if anybody would have been in that area, you would have heard them.
Oh yeah.
Sure.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
It didn't have any echo that an environmental or ambient sound would have, right? With that type of room. And we just wanted to clarify something.
You said, Chris, that was taken in the meth deck.
Right next to the meth heads in that bushes out in Lexington.
And the router,
yeah. But all jokes aside, there was no
back then. So
yeah, Roger's right. It was loud, and there was no. It didn't have any echo for environmental, effect. It didn't. It wasn't bouncing off of anything. It didn't have even like a Doppler effect to it. It was just straight up.
Right,
Yeah.
and that room would have produced on a regular sound wave that would have bounced all over the place in there. So
so that room is at the front of the bow of the ship. The kitchen's in the center, and off to the right, I don't know what they're called. Scott, you're the Navy guy. The right side of the ship and the left side of the ship have a seating area, so that is the officer's mess area.
Yeah, well, I think that was actually in the enlisted area, but because the ship store is right there. But of course, the officers' mess was actually up where they had a command center set up for. That was actually the officers' mess.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So this was all enlisted mess decks right there. So, and yes, very loud, big metal, container. If we said something, you heard it reverberate, all over the place. Reflections, reverberation was a constant problem. We actually thought we had a nice piece of evidence on in one area. We kind of determined that it was actually reflection of us. It was with the thermal camera.
Yeah,
and that it was a reflection of us. Which I keep that around as kind of a reference, and as kind of a teaching moment for us as well. So hey, we got to pay attention as to what we got. We got to recognize what we got going on. Could it have been paranormal? It very well could have. Can we rule out that it was a reflection off a metal surface? No, we can't. So, that's kind of the things you have to factor in a location like that.
in that this it reflects sound so much in that ship that I probably threw out 65 to 70% of my audio because you're picking up people. I mean, somebody could be like this next clip that we're about to play. You can hear people talking, but they're back behind the camera,
right
down the hallway in the medical portion of it. But you can hear them talking, and that's how far sound travels in the ship.
Exactly.
So for that EVP to be that loud, if it was one of us during the investigation, you would have heard us talking prior to that. You wouldn't have picked up that. Yes, and like you guys said, it didn't have the echo. The ship was awesome. So, all right. So this next one, Scott, is the mess deck light anomaly.
Is this the one, the full speed or the 30% slow down?
This is full speed.
Okay.
I thought you could see it a little bit better on the full speed.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we're in there. We're trying to. We had several teams with us. We're trying to do an EVP session. You'll see Mike Bennett, one of our investigator, sitting at one of the tables. I think he had either his thermal out or a night vision camera out. He was panning around, trying to pick up stuff. But you'll see a sudden flash. The doorway you'll see off in the distance leads to where the ship's store is, and that's where sailors would go pick up supplies that they need, and things like that. There's a soda shop back there, and whatnot. And you'll see a flash of light, and then something comes out of that door, and it just flies right by that camera. So to
add relevance to this is the area you see the light anomaly in is where he just caught the yes. It is also, it's also where Audra and I smelt the food. And it's also where I saw an officer standing in this doorway, which is timing and relevance.
Yeah.
Because it was always in the same area right there. And there was nobody in that portion of the ship at this point. And I want to point out something. You're looking at an IR camera, so this is night vision. This was pitch black because Mike scared the shit out of me and Audra because he's sitting back in the corner. You'll see him. So let's go play it.
Can I see it?
Yeah, pretty cool.
Yeah, very cool.
Yeah. Have you been on that ship, Rebecca?
Not with the investigation. I went when I was a little girl, and went down into the ship, but I want to go. We've talked about going again at some point.
Yeah. So I want to take my entire team down there. I think that's us being a team from North Carolina, that it's important that we visit that location as a team, just for representation, sake, alone. So
That's cool.
that is a goal of ours.
It's a cheap investigation for anybody that ever gets down to Wilmington. The USS North Carolina is. I mean, ghost hunters have been there. Ghost adventures have been there.
Mm-hmm.
We've been there. It's literally you get the whole ship, and it's $750.
Mm-hmm.
And Audra and I got the ship at 5:00, and we didn't have to leave till 7:30 the next morning.
Yeah,
Awesome.
Yeah,
it's amazing. I mean, our team was the last ones to leave, and we left probably. I think it was. I mean, Zach, if you're listening, I think back me up. I think it was like 3 or 4 in the morning, somewhere in there. So
yeah, just don't do it in July.
Oh, it's like walking around in an oven.
Yeah.
So.
Oh wow!
It'll be interesting what Rebecca picks up because that's a lot of energies that were in and out of there, in the history. So.
Yeah.
Well, Jennifer noticed when she was watching the clip just now a shadow walk past, and the first time, Scott, you had shown us that in your house, I had seen a shadow walk past as well in that background.
Yeah. So.
To the back left door.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind seeing it again now.
You want to see it again? All right, here we go.
I'd like it ever.
It's really weird about that clip is at full speed, it looks like something dashes across the door.
Yeah.
When you slow it down to 30%, it looks like whatever crosses that door frame is emitting light.
Yeah.
It looks like a illuminated shadow, like a body.
Yeah.
It's walking.
I mean, when I first saw it, I had to play it like 4 or 5 times to just make sure I was looking at what I thought I was looking at. So,
and there is like another, it seems to me anyway, like another shadow does pass by. I mean, I don't know if it's the lighting from the camera, but it does look like another shadow passes by.
Yeah. And if it had been the IR emitter from Mike's camera, it wouldn't have originated in that space and then come out.
It wasn't completely in the other space. Yeah.
Yeah. You can clearly see it originated in that ship store area.
And that is the exact spot where we had our experience. You caught the yes, and I saw the officer standing in the doorway. Which
I mean, You could spend an entire investigation night alone in that mess deck.
Yeah.
I mean, you really could.
Mm-hmm. All right. So the next one is the mess deck, the whistle.
Yes.
All right. So here we go. What the hell was that?
Whoa. Was that like for dogs?
Right. I was thinking
That thing played super fast.
What's that like for dogs? You could not have delivered that line better.
Like, I didn't
You
hear
like
it.
how you like how she's looking at me going, "What the hell was that?"
It's your fault, baby. Again.
Let me see if I can find it, because that I don't know what the hell happened there.
What a great line.
And I got the blame. You see how that happens over here? What the hell? Where's the DC one that says whistle?
What kind of uniforms? Were the uniforms white in that
Yes.
ship?
Yeah.
And I was thinking about that with that whatever lit.
Shadow.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
Yeah. At that time, the Navy would have been utilizing what was known as the dress white uniforms and dress blue uniforms. They would also have been in the work uniform would have been the traditional dungaree pants and light blue button-up shirt. But
That's interesting.
Yeah.
That ship served most of his wartime career in the Pacific campaign of World War II. So, as far as dress uniforms go, whites would have been probably the dominant one used.
Well, and the officers would have wore white the whole time, correct?
White or khaki.
Yep. All right, so I'm going to play the original audio that Scott sent to me. Did I share it?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I shared the screen.
Yeah, I haven't shared it yet.
Let me redo this because I had to convert it to the MP4 to get it onto StreamYard.
Oh, okay.
Okay, yes. So let me play the original audio so you hear the whistle. Where was it? All right, here we go. Could you guys hear it?
I don't think you shared the audio.
Right, I
did.
agree.
No, I did. It said
Really?
share it. Yeah.
I heard a no when you said you're good or something. I heard a no, but I didn't hear whistle.
Share tab audio. Entire screen. Oh, there we go. When I switch to entire, there we go. Here we go again. Let me see if Chris could do
Third
this.
time's the charm.
Third time's the charm.
Huh?
What?
Maybe because you have everything highlighted.
No, he doesn't.
They're all
What
checked
the
out.
hell was that? Did you guys hear that again?
Yeah.
They're all checked off.
That
Like
white
it was-
noise just came through again.
I did hear that. I
I
heard it.
heard
I heard
it.
it.
Every
Right, here we
file is checked off there.
Do you
There
think
it
that's
goes.
the problem?
All these. Can I check out?
See, I hear a voice there.
Mm-hmm.
I hear it. It's just very faint.
But you don't think it's because all those boxes are checked?
Oh no, those are little music emblems.
Oh, okay, it looks like check marks. Okay, my bad.
But did you guys hear the whistle? I kept playing it back.
It's
I
so
can't hear. Yeah, I can't hear the whistle. I hear a whisper, but I don't know if that's one of the investigators. But I can't hear the whistle.
Let me play it one more time. Make sure the audio is all the way up. Yeah, it's all the way up. Could you guys hear it that time?
Yeah, it's hard to hear.
Yeah, it's very faint and
It
kind
is
of in
very
the
faint.
beginning.
I did hear it, and yeah, I don't know what that would have been. Again, where that ship is at, it's in this little little alcove there. It's surrounded by mud,
Gators.
Literally.
everything. In that area, there wouldn't have been anything using sonar through there.
Except the EVP that I played on that one show.
Yeah, that one, and I think when we did some research, we determined that was a World War II era
sonar.
sonar ping. Because when you do your research and you look up modern era sonar sounds, the pitch in the modern era is much higher than what you called. So, but in that area, I don't believe any military vessel, including Coast Guard, which is in the area, would have been running active sonar pings in that area. So, there would have been no need to be, I'm not really sure that they would be allowed to. So,
yeah, unless Zach was down there playing with the torpedoes trying to take out the riverfront.
Well, there's always that possibility. Maybe it was Zach trying to sing to like 16-inch guns or something. So
Don't leave them unsupervised.
Yeah, Zach with anything with a large gun on it is you could have trouble.
Kid in a candy store. All right, so this next one is Footsteps and Original Scream. And it looks like this one might be corrupt too.
Okay.
Because it's 7 seconds.
Oh.
That would have been. Oh yeah. Okay. This gets back to the Friendship Drive investigation. I had to pull it up on my computer real quick and look at it.
Okay, I'm going to share.
Yeah. So when we did our research on the property, I found some old maps which showed where the original residence sat, and where I was standing when I recorded this would have been approximately where the living room area of the cabin that originally sat on the property was at. So I think this is a residual, but it was pretty pretty good.
Okay. So I'm going to share my screen and the audio on this one because it looks like when I converted it got corrupt again too. So let's listen to it this way. Here we go. Oh yeah, that one was good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I heard that.
Yep.
Scream Yard.
Yeah. So again, this is where Becca picked up on the young female's murder, and is it possible that we have the audio from that as well? Who knows? Or from events leading up to it, it's very possible. So.
Yeah.
Okay, so this last piece of evidence before we get to shameless plugs is from Tala during an SD session. It is a direct response to a question that Scott's asked, and it's funny. But the best part about this clip is it's PPIT. It's you hear Audra laughing. You'll hear Scott reference me because I go down into the violent women's ward, and you'll actually hear a Simonelli voice in this video too.
Yes. So I'll just go ahead and say that. Sorry, Everett.
I don't know where I am.
So this one is Scott doesn't even have to describe this one because it's about 2 minutes and 42 seconds, and it kind of just explains itself. So let's go ahead and watch it.
Sweet.
Here we go.
young, he's got a lot of stamina.
Well, Zach, we might have a date lined up for you. I said I told him we got two young men walking down there. Zach is single and ready to mingle, and we got give me.
Okay.
All right. Zach's heading back down to you.
You need some supervision? Or some KY? Come on, ladies.
That way we can just investigate. We've got enough evidence.
Idiot.
Well, we got an argument to be made for that. Chris is coming down there too.
All right.
Yeah, it went really well last time when we were doing that.
Yeah, Mike was telling us what was trying to create.
You okay?
We're sending 3 down the hallway now.
Huh? Your knees holding up? Your knees.
With the Bernice balloon.
It's okay. Get some more of that.
2 of them are married though. I'm sorry.
Underneath the chin, when you go into the truck, that's clean.
You want me to send Everett down there?
Nope.
Oh my God.
Nope.
I like when she says idiot. That's funny.
Yeah. So, Mike, as we said before, Mike and Zach had been there in 2021 for our team when they initially met Chris and Olga. They had got some really good results from just creating this like very jovial atmosphere on the Violent Women's Ward. Got some very good responses and everything. So we decided to recreate it. My wife, again, was in the hot seat. I'm asking the questions. We send Zach and Mike down there initially. And earlier in the recording, I had asked, I'd said, well, Zach's down there, he's single and ready to mingle. And almost immediately we get the response, a response back for that, saying, basically they wanted him back down there. So they come back up. I tell Zach, so Zach goes back down there. Mike decides he's going to follow him. He says, hey, you need some help or do you need some KY? And so they go down there and a few seconds later, we get the response back, idiot.
Yeah. That's what made it funny. It was funny. It was funny.
And then later on, we offer up Everett to them, and they're like, nope. So, we have some good times at Tala.
Yeah. So anybody that doesn't know Tala, the Violent Women's Ward is known for the women on the entities that are still remaining, the women that are still there, don't like women. So women have they've been called whores, bitches, all kinds of stuff on the Violent Women's Ward. But when men go down there, EVPs have been caught of cat calls, sexual references.
Mm-hmm.
The first time we were there was me, Zach, and Mike that were down at the end of the hall. And we picked up some good stuff. We heard some stuff, some audible stuff. And that's when I caught the recording of somebody pounding on the door asking for help. but they respond well to men, so that's why they were sending us down there. And apparently, they don't respond well to Everett.
It's good to know.
Yeah.
It's a great
Is that the
location.
place? Is that the same investigation where Anthony Simonelli caught something getting thrown on two different cameras?
Yes, yeah. He
Really
had
cool clip that he
something
caught.
on it, and
Yeah. So this was later in the night when we went back upstairs and joined the rest of the group.
yeah. I think he'd already had something thrown at him well before that.
Yeah.
And he also, I can't remember if this was before or after he had some interactions in one of the rooms with one of the children as well. So
That was after. Yeah, the interaction he had with the child is when we were on the first floor in Lily's room, and then we went down to the 1800 section with Anthony and Teresa, and that's when he had the object thrown at him. Yeah.
Yeah, that two camera thing, he caught the same moment on the body cam and on the handheld. That was pretty cool to have caught it two different ways like that.
And the funny thing is this night was actually for Tala. It was a pretty calm night, and we still caught all that evidence, which is
and we even had a thunderstorm roll through at one point.
Yeah.
So to stir things up. So.
And cannolis, right?
Cannolis, and it was also my wife's birthday, so we had a birthday cake there for her as well. So.
That's awesome. Nice.
So happy birthday, honey. Sit down and do an SD session for 15 minutes. In an extremely haunted location.
The only thing she didn't like about it was, so Tyler was like, 2 weeks after our first appearance on your show, and my wife had gone dancing with some friends and had broken her ankle. So she's hobbling around Tyler on crutches and an air cast.
Oh, jeez.
But she was determined to investigate that place.
Y'all gotta give that's an investigator with dedication, because Tala is 4 floors.
Yes.
With no elevator.
Right.
Wow. Yeah, that's dedication. All right.
That's right. That's dedication. That's like, just quickly, our friend Joy McCaffrey. He was another one after his heart attack, and
oh gosh,
he had an oxygen tank, right?
Yeah,
he went to the investigation with an oxygen tank in the car, and he went to the investigation.
Yeah, ask Anthony Simonelli about it.
He knows more the story.
He had a Superman tattoo for a reason, man. He was not going to surrender to staying home.
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't right after, Chris. It wasn't right after the heart attack. It was after some recovery, but he was having issues and he still needed an oxygen tank, and he didn't want to miss out because it was a long time since he couldn't go, and he brought the oxygen tank with him.
So this is the Superman guy that passed away last year, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Right when you were talking about him, the white noise came through again.
Really?
I heard it too. Yeah.
Wow. We didn't hear it.
We didn't hear it.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, interesting.
That is interesting.
Then you said oxygen tank the first time yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Right.
So why, it's not like, where can we find some investigators we could ask this question? But here they are. Why would anybody suppose we didn't hear it here?
Huh. I don't know.
Maybe because I think you were talking when it came on. And that
maybe. Yeah.
probably deafened the sound of it, because your mic is picking up your voice speaking, and that's probably my guess why you didn't hear it.
You guys were the white noise to our white noise.
Right.
See what she did there? Yeah.
Is that like for dogs?
I know, that was so funny.
No, you gotta. Was that for dogs?
No, I was doing this so I could hear it. I wasn't pulling an Anthony. Where am I?
Where am I? I can't hear it. All right, Scott and Becca, we have reached the point in the show.
Love you, Anthony.
Everybody loves Anthony.
We have reached the point in the show of shameless plugs. Who wants to go first?
Becca, go ahead and
take
your stuff real quick.
Okay, so empowering awareness is my business, and do a little bit of spiritual transformation coaching, tarot reading, Reiki, and just trying to put information out there to help people, especially people who are highly sensitive or empaths, to understand how to ground, protect, and things like that. So you can find me on Facebook at Empowering Awareness Coaching. I think that's it.
That's all?
Well, I tried to make it quick because I know Scott's got a few things.
But it's called shameless. There's no shame in it.
I'm not good at, I'm great at promoting other people. I am still learning to promote myself.
All right, Scott, make up for it.
Well, since we were last on, we have started our website, PiedmontParanormal.com. We're got it up and running, and got several things on there, evidence-wise. You want to learn all about us and contact us, that's one place you can go now. And we are delving into the realms of other social media outlets. Becca has convinced me that we need to look at a few more options other than just Facebook. So,
especially with younger people.
Yeah, with the younger people, we are. I'm slowly learning how to do it, but we've gotten involved with TikTok here recently, and Instagram is on the horizon as well. But if anybody who knows me knows, I don't like having more than one social media account. I have a hard enough time keeping track of Facebook, so I will be calling Becca probably quite often, going, "What do I need to do here?" So,
Instagram, you may need another person because I gave that up a while back. I got Facebook and TikTok. That's it.
I know. So we're gonna have to figure something out with that. But other than that, we've got Montgomery House coming up next month, and we're taking the entire team there. It's also going to be our first dry run with the RV here as our mobile command center. So we're going to use that opportunity to try and figure out where we need to strengthen up with it, and where our strengths and weaknesses are with it. So and we're just going to have a great time. Hopefully get some more great evidence there. So it's a fantastic place. If you haven't been, if anybody who's watching has not been there, then you need to get in touch with Chris and Audra and get out there and investigate. It's worth your time, worth your trip, worth every bit of it. So
appreciate that very much.
Very much.
And,
So.
we're all. I just saw Anthony's comment there. We are going to try and be there to Gettysburg for the Battlefield Bash. So,
Cool. Very cool.
We'll be there.
Yep.
alrighty. Can't wait to meet you.
Yeah, likewise. That's where we're hoping the try becomes do.
Yeah.
Yes. And I got to warn you, Ron. Scott's about 6'6".
Oh, I can't wait to take that picture.
We like the Horizon bars.
I'm gonna get like those platform things and hide them under long pants. Just to surprise everybody. Even Tony wouldn't let me be tall at Chrysler Mansion. I said,
"Oh my God, that was so
on the step," and he stepped up and took my height away like that. I had it and I went with it.
Come on, Tattoo. That was so funny as hell.
That was hilarious.
All right, guys. I want to thank everybody for joining in. We had a great crew jump in. Some of the highest numbers we've had so far. Scott and Becca, thanks for being on. We appreciate it. Everybody that joined into the audience, we love you all, and we thank you for jumping in every week. It is fantastic to have you here. I'm just going to thank you all because we used to go through most of you, but now it's just the list has gotten so long. We'd be here till midnight. But thank you guys for joining in. We will be back same time, same channel, same people. Hopefully Cherie will be back next week.
Yep.
Yeah. So tune in next week, 9 p.m. EVPE for some great evidence. And
I'll be there.
if you want to get turned down by a bunch of dead, psychotic, violent women, you have to hang out with Everett. But most of all, you got to stay haunted. All right, guys. We'll see you next week.
Thank
Bye,
you.
everybody.
Can you give me a name? What's your name?